Chapter 1 of Great Englishwomen. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Great Englishwomen by M.B. Synge. Chapter 1. Queen Bertha. Died 606. Bertha, our first Christian queen, lived a very quiet, uneventful life. History does not record her sayings, nor does it tell us that she performed any great public acts. She made no special mark on the world at large. But by her good example to others, by her gentle influence on those around her, she stands out as the one bright light shining from out the thick darkness of those heathen days. She was the only child of the King of Paris, but there is more to say about her grandmother, Radegund, than about either her father or mother, for Bertha had been taught to love the name of Radegund from a little child. Radegund was the wife of a king of part of France. This king had taken her prisoner with her little brother in a war, but, finding her very beautiful and of royal blood, he adopted her. As she was a heathen, he had her baptized, and then had her taught till she was old enough to become his wife. Then poor Radegund was very unhappy. The king, her husband, was stern, rough, and cruel, though he loved her very much, and she escaped unknown to a distant convent. With her own hands she cut off her long and beautiful hair, and leaving her royal dress and jewels, she threw on the cloak of a nun. At last the king discovered her, repented of his harshness toward her, and gave her a large estate, on which she built a convent, and devoted her time to study. It was she who made the convent rules herself, she who gave advice to those who needed it, encouraged the timid, urged on the slothful, and spoke tenderly to those in trouble. Radegund brought up her son, Bertha's father, to love the classics and old writings, and he became a wise and good king. So when he had a child of his own, he determined that she should be brought up in a convent, away from the world, as he had been. We do not know where Bertha was taught. It may have been under her grandmother, Radegund, and we hear nothing more of her till history tells us that Ethelbert, the King of Kent, married the gentle Bertha, daughter of the King of Paris. Now Ethelbert was a young Saxon king, who had taken part in governing from the age of 16. His friends and servants all looked up to him, and were ready to share his dangers and his triumphs. The king and princes of England at this early time were always trying to increase their domains, and Ethelbert was no exception. The kings were all very jealous of one another, so Ethelbert thought it would be better to look for help outside England. So he visited the King of Paris to ask his advice on the subject. There he met Bertha, and was greatly attracted by the good and beautiful princess. The King of Paris, for his part, liked the brave boy King of Kent, and was pleased with the idea of a marriage between him and his daughter Bertha. But in 567 he died suddenly, and Bertha went to live with her uncle, who now became King of Paris. Now her uncle would not hear of her proposed marriage with the King of Kent, because Bertha was a Christian and Ethelbert a heathen. But Ethelbert loved Bertha very much, and he said if he might marry her he would allow her to keep her Christian religion, and also to bring over a Christian bishop with her. So the uncle consented, and Princess Bertha was sent over in great state and honor to the unknown land, to become the Queen of Kent. Her new home was a castle in the town of Canterbury, a palace where the kings of Kent always lived. For it was a splendid hall where the king and queen entertained their friends, and where dancing to the pipe and harp often went on. The king had a bower in the garden, where she could play the lute and ply the shuttle, and she loved to wander in the gardens with the ladies of the court and watch the flowers growing. Happy years followed Bertha's marriage. A little son and daughter came to wake up the old castle with their merry voices. They had curious Saxon names, but the little girl was always called Tata, which means lively, because she was such a bright little child. On a hill beyond Canterbury stood the little church of St. Martin, which had been restored for the Queen's use, and there she went daily, while Ethelbert prayed to his idols in a pagan temple near. Bertha longed for him to become a Christian and to convert the heathen men of Kent, but although
Sample complete. Ready to continue?